In 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. And welcome to another episode of Vanessa The Vivacious show, Vanessa The Vivacious Files. Wherever this episode finds you, whether it be morning, afternoon, or evening, welcome. We're so glad that you're here. So first and foremost, I thank you so much for your patience. I did take a few days off as I was traveling in between San Antonio, Texas, and Dallas, Texas, and kind of making my way back down, or was it making my way back up? 35, no less. It was an interesting week. I was gone for a week, and I did do some episodes from San Antonio, as you saw, but it was a very interesting week, full of rain. It was raining for most of the time I was there, which is really sad, but I still got out whenever I could. And my poor little dog, she was not having it. So I had a great time. It was Fiesta. If you're not familiar with Fiesta, think Mardi Gras, and it runs for 10 days in San Antonio. Lots of food and music and fun. It is so much fun. Eventually, you're kind of like, yeah, I'm done. I go to certain events and that's it. But overall, it has so much. The city has so much to offer. And I got to see family. I got to see friends. And so it was a really good trip back home. It was really tempting because I figured out that it's super cheap to move back. Like, I'm talking $550 a month cheap, but at the same time, then I would be home. So that's the downside, is that I could have really cheap rent, but then I would be home. And I'm not sure that I want that. I'd rather be in a place that I want to be 1,000% versus just because it's cheap and just because I have people there, like that safety net of family and just having people that support you. And don't get me wrong, support is great, but sometimes you feel like venturing out on your own and just really making memories in a totally brand new place and just living, right? So that's kind of why I toggle back and forth between going home and having that comfort zone, but then going out, living somewhere totally new, having adventures, and just really capturing all the essence of life, sucking out the marrow out of life, as it were. And so it's still up for debate. We'll see when we know. I've also have another option, possibly moving to another state on the East Coast. And I don't know yet, it hasn't occurred, and not sure where I'm going. East Coast, West Coast, who knows? But I really like the idea that I have a choice and that I'm in the position where I can make those choices. So super excited about that. Super excited. Just a cancer update. Still have cancer, except not two. I recently had to go back to see if I had breast cancer. Turns out I don't, which is amazing. Still have uterine cancer, but what's messed up is that when I was recently at the hospital doing the whole breast cancer scan thing, they left me in the waiting room for 3 extra hours. So I'm over here thinking I have breast cancer for 4 hours, and then they take me to a room with a doctor only to apologize for having forgotten me and that they discharged me hours ago, which was absurd. I was so mad. So livid. I kept my composure for the most part, but I was so mad. And I was just like, how do you forget a human being? And how do you forget someone while making them think that they have cancer, a second cancer? It was a lot. It was emotionally distressful, and somebody will be hearing about it for sure. So yeah, that was my last week pretty much up to yesterday. I have it in my heart to go over success and winning culture. Now, success and winning, those are two areas or two goals that we always have in the forefront. And while it's okay to want to succeed and to want to win, there's more to life than that. It's funny how success and winning, it equates to how good a person is seen or valued as. And also similar to money, people equate wealth with wisdom and stature. So it is just really strange how we connect things. And if somebody is winning, if someone is successful, then we think, oh, that's the person I want to be. But really, we don't know entirely who they are and what their character is. Same with people that are wealthy. We don't really know that they're a wisdom or of stature-like type person. So I would say that we want to be careful on the people that we emulate and the people that we look up to. But also, winning isn't everything. Success isn't everything. For me, it's the journey. It's the quality versus the quantity. As podcasters, you can churn out a whole bunch of episodes. And if you think that churning out quantity of episodes is better than the quality, you're terribly mistaken. The quality of the content is far more superior than the quantity. Just going to put that out there. You may agree, you may disagree, but I totally believe that the quality is where it's at. Because why would you put out 10 episodes on, I don't know, say cars and not really talk about cars, but then you talk about the brand of cars instead, or you talk about the celebrities that like the cars, but you never really talk about the cars. You never really talk about what features of the car make them the best cars, or maybe the history behind the cars. The quality of the content that you could produce is far greater than just, Matthew McConaughey likes Lincoln. Like, who cares? Quality versus quantity. Now, what you do and what you say matters. When it comes to success and winning culture, successful people tend to do what they say and say what they do. So if we practice that every day, and also if we do more than we say, meaning that instead of saying, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but we just go do it and then let people see it and appreciate you afterward, I think that's important. I currently practice that myself. Consistency and discipline, those are very hard sometimes, but if we can be consistent, there's honor in that, I think. There's value in that consistency in anything that you do. And then discipline, oh man, I can be very undisciplined. So I'm working on that too. I think we constantly have to be working on ourselves and having that internal conversation about what it is that you're bad at. What are you good at? What can you improve? What can you grow with? What do you want to learn that you don't know already? Or maybe what do you want to learn that you know a little bit of, but you really need more? You need to know more. We need to constantly be learning. And I'm guilty of that too. I need to constantly be learning. I have a bunch of books that travel with me everywhere I go, and I get to read them sometimes, but that's not good enough. I need to be reading more. And I highly recommend reading more to you too, whether it be, physical, tangible books or audiobooks, expanding our knowledge and insights also on global events and global news or finance news and how it affects the world. Because, finance is interesting in the sense that it's not just about stock markets and making money. All of these actions and reactions in markets affect how the world works and how some countries operate, and historically what could happen within various areas, various subject areas. So I was never a person involved in reading or learning about finance, but now I'm kind of interested in the way that it affects the world because it really does have a ripple. Look at the current state of things. I'll wait. I won't go over it. In trying to be consistent, I've been working on this book because I want to be a speaker. I do. I want to do motivational speaking, but then I think, okay, well, what am I going to talk about? Okay, well, why don't I write that down? Okay, well, there's a book right there. There's a book that everyone's been asking for forever. So I've been working on this book. And while I'm working on it, I generate these stories, these life stories. And so I'm going to share one with you today. This story is about being a child in an elementary school, and our author, visitor, the career person of the day was an author, a writer. And so with that, I was super excited. In the second grade, we had this visitor. Like most elementary school age children, I was super excited for this visiting author to speak, and I particularly hoped that he would read my work or notice me. The author read to us, answered questions, and was an okay person. But at the end, I mustered up the courage to go and speak to him. Having anxiously awaited my turn, I asked, "Can I become a writer?" He laughed, and he shook his head and then uttered the words that broke my little elementary-sized heart. He said, "No one should become a writer. It's the worst job, and you will never be happy. Do not do it." I was shocked, sad, angry, all at once. How could this grown man shoot down the dreams of a child? But he was an adult, so I had no choice but to trust his advice. He was an adult after all. My mother, she may not have taught us very much, but she did teach us to respect our elders. Now, I did not listen to him 100% because that's kind of my MO till this day even. But I did continue to write in school and receive praise for my work. However, I did not pursue a career as a writer. At times, I wonder what would have happened if I did pursue it. But then I look back on this wonderful, colorful life that I've had, and I just decided, why not? Why not do it now? Here we are. I'm writing things down now. So it wasn't that it just wasn't in the cards. It just maybe wasn't in the cards back then or in the last 10 years. But here we are, me writing. So as I write that book, in the passage about the author, it says, "I'm writing and you're reading." That pretty much sums up the writer-reader social contract. I will continue to write in various mediums despite the man's unfortunate advice. As I said, that's kind of my MO, to do the opposite of what people tell me to, or to not accept their answer completely. And I don't know where that comes from. I really don't. All I know is it served me super well. It still does. I don't 100% listen to everyone. I listen to them and I kind of do an analysis on what percentage of their response or knowledge or shared information is actually valid or is applicable to me. And then I move forward. So I cannot recall anyone that I actually took their advice 100%. And I invite everyone to kind of scrutinize advice that way as well, because not all advice is good advice. Not all advice applies to you. They could be talking to themselves. You just need to filter, and decide what works for you. So in speaking today, in our little life session here, we talked about travels, talked about success and winning culture. And I know that's not the success and winning culture you're thinking about, but that's what I think about. I think about how we equate people in certain positions as successful and winning when they're not, and how quality versus quantity is far more important and superior when it comes to winning and success. And then also how consistency and dependency, they are two bad words that are so good for us. My author story and how I defied his direction. My final thought is this: what we do is our choice. Do it for you and no one else. Guide your own life decisions by what you desire, not what is desired for you. If you fail, then you only have you to look to. But failing is okay, though. Don't forget that failing is okay, because it is. Because the thing is that if you don't fail, you don't learn. And it's okay not to know things, but really, I think of everything we could possibly do wrong, standing still and doing nothing is the absolute worst thing we can do. We have to move and we have to learn things and get uncomfortable and do things that help us to grow. Because when we grow, we win. When we educate ourselves and share that education with others, we win. When we create quality content that inspires someone else or lifts someone else, we win. When we learn something from someone else and we listen to them and connect, we win. We win and we're successful because not only do we do things consistently and with dedication, but we also connect with other human beings and we elevate each other and we share and become more compassionate and empathetic. That's how we win. I'm looking forward to more consistency and more discipline. Dependency. Wow. Discipline. I hope for myself, I hope that I will pick up more books and attend more workshops and resources and not just continue with my head down working on things, but actually seek out even more subject matter expert knowledge and just really immerse myself in various different forms of, say, art, music, literature, whatever. Doesn't matter what it is. Film, my favorite. I hope that you guys have an excellent week ahead and day ahead. I will see you tomorrow for another episode of Vanessa The Vivacious Files, because as I said before, I need to record daily, and so that's what we're doing. We're going to be disciplined and we're going to record daily. Thank you guys again for joining us on Vanessa The Vivacious Files. If you have any questions or comments, please do put them in the comments section. I would love to hear from you and share it on the next episode. Take care, and as always, join us next time on Vanessa The Vivacious podcast, and don't forget to be vivacious.